Uh-huh.
Oh, you're very welcome, Miss Stewart.
So, here we are. We are going to review for the midterm, okay? So I thought we'd first start with some word problems, translating and solving. So I think you guys are good on the translating. For example, if I say 5 more than twice a number. Okay? Generally speaking, you can just, translate word for word. 5 more than means I'm adding 5. Twice a number means I'm multiplying that number times 2. A number, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to call that x. So twice a number, let's call that 2x. 5 more than that, I could either write 5 plus, or I can say it's 5 more than 2x. Doesn't really matter where I put that plus 5. And let's say is 7. Is, in math land, usually means equals 7. I just translated from English into math. Now I can solve that. Solving for x means I want to get my x all by itself. Let's get rid of that 5, shall we? I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. 2x equals 2. Is x isolated yet? Not quite. How do I get rid of that little pesky 2? I can divide both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1.
Ian Bunce to the main office. Ian Bunce to the main office.
Memorialized for all time. So there we have our translation, and then we solve for x. Now, of course, you did lots of word problems that are a little more complicated than this. Motion problems, coin problems, age problems, consecutive integer problems. I'm not going to do them all right now, but let's do some consecutive integer problems just for old time's sake. How about that? Consecutive integers, of course, are integers. Integers are the counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0, and negative, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, etc. And we like doing word problems about consecutive integers because they're just such cool numbers. So whenever you have consecutive integers, you want to think about how I would represent them using variables. Whenever I don't know what a number is, I call it x. Right? So sometimes we say, let x equal my first number. Well, if I have a consecutive integer, how far apart is my next integer? Well, it's 1 more than it. So x plus 1 could be used to represent my second consecutive integer. Perhaps I should say my first integer. What if I had a third consecutive integer? Well, heck, then I add another one. There's my third consecutive integer. They're 1 apart. So this is how I would express them using x. What if I said I didn't have consecutive integers, but consecutive even integers? Okay? Well, again, you want to think about how far apart those integers are. How far apart are even integers? Well, let's think about what my even integers are. They're 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. How far apart are they? They're 2 apart. So if my first integer is called x, my next even integer would be x plus 2. My next even integer after that would be x plus 4. And my next one would be x plus 6, etc. You see how this works? Hey, would this work for odd integers too? I think it would. My odd integers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Those are 2 apart also. So if my first integer is an odd integer, then the next odd integer would be x plus 2. The next odd integer after that would be x plus 4, or x plus 6. All right, let's keep that in mind. Let's actually do a problem. I'm going to write a problem on the board. Why don't you, at home, write the problem down, stop the video, try it on your own. Then you can turn on the video and see how you did. How's that? Okay, so we're going to have 3 consecutive integers. 3 consecutive integers, that means there's one after the other. Okay? And twice, let's see, I have it written down here. Twice the smallest integer. Twice the smallest is 12 more than the largest. So that's your clue. You have 3 consecutive integers. You know that twice the smallest integer is 12 more than the largest integer. Find all 3 numbers. Okay. Well, let's start by defining our variables. Okay, I'm going to say x is my first integer. Whenever I don't know something, I can always call it x, or y, or m, or n, whatever you like. We like x. If these are consecutive integers, my next integer would be 1 more than that. So that's my second integer. 1 more than the one before. Hey, my third integer would be x plus 2. That's my third consecutive integer. Are we okay so far? All right, so now I use my little clues. Twice the smallest. All right, well, this guy's my smallest. Twice means I'm multiplying that by 2. Is, that's my equals. 12 more than, well, I'm going to add 12 to my thing, so I can do 12 plus. The largest. Well, let's see, the largest would be my third integer there. X plus 2. Is that okay? Twice the smallest is 12 more than the largest. I could have also done x plus 2 plus 12. It doesn't really matter. That's that commutative property that says I can do it in any order I like. Hey, I have an equation. Can I just solve this? You know, when I'm solving, I like cleaning up each side of the equation first. So I'm going to combine like terms over here. 12 combines nicely with 2 to give me 14. All right, I'm solving for x, so I want to bring all my x's on one side. I think it would be handy to subtract my 1x from both sides. 2x minus 1x is 1x, or x. 14. There we go. Now, don't circle it and say, hey, I'm done. Go back to the original question. You always want to make sure you're answering the question.
Bird to the main office, please. Jessica, Bird to the main office.
So, find all 3 numbers. Well, I found my first number, which is 14. My next number is going to be 1 more, 15. My next is going to be 2 more, 16. And there is your answer. Your 3 consecutive integers are 14, 15, and 16. Okay? 14, 15, and 16. Hey, I hope when you turned off the video and turned it back on that you were successful. Were you? Give yourself a hand.